More top stories before you go now. Three-time undisputed champion and Omaha icon Terrence "Bud" Crawford has announced his retirement from boxing. Crawford ended his career with 20 straight title fights over an 11-year period. He retires with a 42-0 record with 31 knockouts.
Two crashes at the same intersection 2 days in a row. Given the time, day, and the location, investigators think that sun glare was a factor. Authorities are urging extra caution in situations like this.
A man has been convicted of murder in connection with another man's death last year. Brennan McKesh was found guilty of several charges, including second-degree murder. He is set for sentencing in February.
Happening today, President Trump will travel to Delaware for the dignified transfer of the 2 Iowa National Guard members killed in Syria. The 2 killed in the attack were 25-year-old Sergeant Edgar Brian Torres Tovar and 29-year-old Sergeant Nate Howard.
Nebraska's Department of Revenue is set to enact a new law focusing on kratom products in the state. It requires kratom products sold in Nebraska to comply with manufacturing and labeling requirements. The Kratom Consumer Protection Act takes effect New Year's Day.
Happening today, Governor Jim Pillen and Dr. Mehmet Oz will announce Nebraska as the first state to pursue Medicaid work requirements. The announcement is expected to give a timeline of when that requirement will begin. It is expected to happen at 9 o'clock this morning.